Yo, what up? It is the 29th of December. It is currently 9:34 p.m. on a Sunday. And we have some mail here. What are we... Mom... Oh, and yeah, the HRA. Okay. Every time I get mail now, I'm worried that it's going to be someone moving out who I didn't realize was going to move out after what happened with Cube. I found a photo where you were laughing so hard I can see your tonsils. What was so funny? Your smile's golden. Thank you. I'm throwing this letter out though. Also, I got this red letter. I guess it was technically today, but I connected to Rolfton to do some things, including I got this blue rose, these orange cosmos, and these black cosmos. So we'll plant those down here, the black cosmos, and we'll plant the orange cosmos up in the orange area, and of course the blue roses will go in the rainbow garden. So, it is now, I guess, day 3 of the 5-part end-of-year mini-series. So yesterday we talked about all of the villages that I had in the past during this series this year. The day before that, we talked a bit about this town, and the plan for tomorrow is to do a grand year in review, which will incorporate all of the previous months in review in one. Let's talk to Pompom. And of course, the 5th and final day will be the finale itself, where I'll basically wrap everything up in a nice little neat bow. Let's talk to Pompom real quick, and we'll talk about what we're doing today. You know Hugh and Marina? They're one of 2024's biggest couples, according to Miss Nintendic, right? They decided that pretty late. Well, let me tell you, the biggest doesn't always mean the best. I also didn't know about that couple. Today, I decided that I wanted to talk about Wild World itself as a game, because I've talked about it quite a bit at this point, in various random capacities, but I've never really, I think, given a full-on, all-encompassing review. And I guess this isn't going to cover literally everything, because there's just such a sheer quantity of things to talk about in this game that it would be very difficult for me to summarize it all within, like, say, 30 minutes. Did you think up the Clawhand constellation? You just gotta stay creative if you want to stay young. Don't know if that's how that works, Genji. But yeah, so today we'll be doing that. We'll be talking about this game and what I think of it, because, I'll still be playing it. I don't know how long, because, am I going to be playing this game when I'm, like, 80? I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. I mean, at some point I'm sure this cartridge will, like, degrade and not even be able to work anymore. But who knows? Who knows how long I'll be playing this game for, but now is probably one of the last times I get to talk about what I think of it fully. I might not seem like it, but I'm quite shy around new people. I always like talking to you because there's none of that awkwardness. I have to stop this. If I want new adventures, I gotta meet new people. That's Mallary. We need to talk to Hugh, Peewee, Marina, Pippy, and Nibbles. So yes, that's what I'll be talking about today, is this game as a whole. So obviously I like it. I feel like that's obvious enough. Like, like is actually a bit of an understatement, of course. This is not only my favorite Animal Crossing game, but also one of my favorite games overall of all time. It's very hard for me to not consider it as such, considering how much time I've spent with it now. So, this, and this'll be, because, I've played this series for a long time, I guess a long time, like, since I was a kid at least. But this year will be the first full year where I managed to play every single day, without, technically, I played past midnight a couple days, but I'd still say that counts, as I've talked about time and time again. So yeah, this will be the first year I've actually successfully played an Animal Crossing town every single day, which is pretty special. So yeah, I think it's a good time to talk about how I feel about the game itself. But let's talk to Nibbles real quick. Lately, Peewee and Marina have been in the nastiest mood. So the whole fight started when Peewee called Marina his ex's name by accident. Ouch, that's gotta sting. Oh. Spicy drama. Yeah, let's talk about Wild World. So, my perspective comes from having... Before I played this game, I played New Leaf. And after playing this game, I played New Horizons. So, it's not really, like, recency bias, nor is it nostalgia, necessarily, because I've, you know... It's sandwiched between the game I played first and the game that I played most recently. But yes, also note that this perspective is doesn't incorporate the GameCube Animal Crossing or City Folk, just because I haven't played them. Oh, there's a pill bug here, or a tongue beetle. I was kind of mean to him. Yeah, so I guess keep that in mind for my perspective, though, is that it doesn't. I'm not familiar with the whole series. I mean, I'm familiar with the other games. I know, what they're like, but I've never played them before. But, that being said, I think I'm pretty confident in saying that this is my favorite game in the series. And there are things that I know are absent in GameCube Animal Crossing that I really like in this game. And I think a good example to start us off with would be the Roost. It's a little place tucked in the corner of the museum here. Oh, even Phyllis is here today. Hello, Phyllis. Hello, hi, good evening. Hello? Look, if you got nothing to say, just go over there, okay? The Roost is, like, perfect. It's such a great area. It's such a minor part of the game, really. I mean, like I said, it's just a little, like, nook tucked away and, away from the museum. It's pretty easy to miss, honestly. And, at one point I was coming to the Roost every single day when I was playing this game, but eventually I stopped just because, it's a bit repetitive. But, what's interesting about this area is that, realistically, there's no real reason to come here, at least in the sense of extrinsic, like, rewards or benefits. You go to Nook's shop to buy items, you go to the museum to donate stuff and, work towards museum completion, you go to Able Sisters for clothes, you go to other villagers' houses to talk to them, and they might give you gifts and favors and stuff. That's not the case here. There's no real purpose to this place, which is what makes it so compelling to me, is the fact that you have to very consciously go out of your way to come here. And of course, Brewster really does represent this idea of, like, how this place is just so somber and relieving. And, it's a busy world. But this is a place where you just come to and you take a break for a minute or two. Care for a cup of Java to pick you up? It's 200 bells. What blend would you like? The usual. Cool. Got the specialized blend today, but it turned out a little differently. I mean, and of course the backing track just speaks for itself. It's great. It's very simplistic, but it's somber. It's very it's a nuanced feeling, really. It isn't like general happiness or sadness. There we go. The perfect temperature to bring out a flavor. 176 degrees. One fresh brewed cup. Drink up. Thanks, I will. It has a rich, earthy scent that warms my entire body. Thanks. But yeah, this is an area that doesn't exist in the GameCube Animal Crossing. So it's score over it. And sure, you might think it's not a very significant thing, but I think why I consider this area so significant is because of how well it represents this series, or at least this game as a whole. No need to hurry. Yeah, there's not really any need to hurry, is there? Probably curious about the secret of my special pigeon milk. Sure, I'll tell you. You see, it's... well... yeah, never mind. Brewster's a very compelling character, and he has that... he's not necessarily a tragic character, but you get this sense that he's very possibly jaded over... you know, he talks about city life and stuff like that. There's this dynamic to him. You know, he's very meek and tender, but then once he opens up to you, he's... you see that he really does, you know what he's talking about. The Roost really is a special place, and he understands that better than anyone else does. And yeah, KK comes to play here, and I guess you could say that's sort of like an extrinsic purpose to come here to, like, get a KK song, but really, that's still... I don't know. I don't think it's the same sort of thing. And obviously, there's no extrinsic reason to play do anything in this game. The entire game itself is, you know, rewarding because it's, you know, intrinsically satisfying. It's just most games are like that. But I guess what I mean is that it's only intrinsically valuable within the context of the game itself. But yeah, you know, if you're ever playing this game and you're doing some intense bug catching, fishing, all of this stuff, the Roost, it's always here. It's always open, even from the beginning of the game. Don't have to wait for any updates or anything like that. And yeah, that's what's so special about the Roost to me. And I think it's one of the most significant parts of the game. I think it's sort of the heart of this game. Oh, and Blathers has some... This is a good way to transition to the next topic. Episodes. This is such a compelling feature of this game to me. The NPCs in Animal Crossing are very well liked because of their... the personalities that they exude just from talking to them, you know, in regular contexts. What's fun about... these episodes, which, you know, crop up from time to time, is that you get to learn more about these characters, and it, you know, gives you this sense that they actually have, like, lives and backstories. Yes, Hugh, about the training I'm doing to get over my fear of insects. Sadly, it's not working. Yesterday I reclined on the floor with my bug book. The next thing I knew, my sister was waking me up. Yes, Hugh, I'd fainted. Pitiful. Yes, quite pitiful indeed. Try so hard and still fail to overcome my fear. Rather humiliating, really. It reminds me of that night a few summers ago. 'Twas a moth, I believe, but a leviathan one about the size of your hand. This netherworld beast stormed into my museum in the dead of night. The flitting sound of its monstrous wings. The very thought sickens me. I'm none too proud of it, but I fled to Brewster's and sipped coffee. Yes, indeed, I sipped coffee until I was sure that flittering brute was gone. I stayed until morning. Rather an eye-opening experience, eh, what? Yes, these characters are so compelling to me already, and so the fact that they get these little episodes, it's so interesting. You get them for Blathers, for Pelly and Phyllis, the Able sisters, Tom Nook. It helps to make the world feel more lived in. And sort of, maybe not realistic, but just that the characters here are, you know, more than just lines of code. It's a very underrated feature as well. You don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. And once again, it's something that really doesn't have a direct point. They don't reward you for listening to them, but the reward is listening to them itself, just the act of being able to hear this stuff about them that you didn't know, and having these characters open up to you like that. And, you know, some of your expectations about them get a little bit shifted. You know, Tom Nook kind of has this reputation of being this all business first kind of guy, but, you know, some of the stuff he talks about in his episodes maybe change that perception a little bit. Hey, Marina. What you could use is a pop quiz. If you answer correctly, I'll give you a prize. Here comes the questions. If I were to get a scoop of ice cream right now, what size would I want? Normal scoop. Weird, that's really impressive. You can tell how hungry I am but just by looking at me? Ew, do you have x-ray vision? Can you see my stomach right now? Or was that just a lucky guess? Either way, you win, so here's your prize. Thought you could use an ornate wall, so here, it's all yours. I hope it brings you lots of happiness. And that will bring us to our next topic, which is the villages and, more broadly, the villager dialogue. I think villages are definitely one of the most important aspects of these games. Obviously, considering that they are, you know, they populate the town. Without them, there's no reason for the town to exist. Also, let's just appreciate how well this looks. Just need that one last blue rose. But yeah, the villages are, of course, a really important aspect of the series, and without them, you know, these games would barely have a purpose. And I think something that people get a bit confused on, or well, maybe they just, this is just a, this isn't the way I view it, at least, is, you know, the early Animal Crossing games, and this one included, are known for having villages being really mean. And while I think that you know, the ability for them to be mean is, like, important, because, you know, it shows that they can have actual, like, character depth and not just be one note all jolly all the time. Beyond the idea that they can be mean, I think that they just have to be written multifaceted in general, that they can, you know, be sad, be happy, be angry, be mean, and all this stuff. Because, you know, people are like that, and, you know, we have days where we just feel bad, and that happens to these guys too. Sometimes you talk to them and they just get bummed over stuff. And yeah, sometimes they're mean to you. And I think that there should be a bit of bite to the characters, because it does make it more interesting and makes it less all positive all the time. Because thematically, I'd say these games are about life. You know, it's about those ups and downs and stuff like that. So having the villages be able to insult you is a way of showing not everyone's going to like you all the time, and that's just a thing you have to get used to sometimes. Peewee's a great example, because he's a cranky villager, and cranky villagers are cranky. So, do you hit up Tom Nook's store every day? Yup. Oh yeah, me too. But it's not like I want to be Nook or something. It's just that the selection there changes every single day. And another thing I like about the dialogue in this game is that there's a lot of it. You know, it's impossible to have infinite dialogue, of course. That would be, you know, it's unrealistic to think that, but I think this game does a really good job of having so much dialogue, you know, for what it is. And yeah, there's definitely things that I've heard, you know, on repeat over and over again. There's a lot of, you know, lines they talk about, like the HRA and stuff like that. The lazy villager, monologue about the HRA scoring them low is one that I've read about 1,000 times this year alone. But I still find new dialogue occasionally, which I think is a testament to how in-depth that this game can be, that even someone like me who plays it every day, talks to all of the villages every day, am still seeing new things. It's really a testament to how much effort they put into that feeling of making them feel like have that kind of depth. And yeah, it's something that I think is really important to do, because otherwise you won't really want to talk to them. Of course, you mainly want to talk to them because of that social aspect in the first place, but if they don't have anything interesting to say, then the socialization doesn't really even feel that real at all. Oh, and Pippy. All sick. I don't view this game as a replacement of anything in real life, but I do think it is able to emulate some of the experiences that people do have in real life. And I think to be able to do that, it has to have the villagers be interesting to talk to. And I think generally, yeah, in this game, they do it quite well. We got a point special today. I'm not really interested in that. So yeah, there's my general thoughts on... Oop, I want to sell Buck's Pick. I don't know why I still have that. I'll sell this because I already have it. And I need to get these fossils assessed. And we'll get some medicine for Pippy. But yeah, I think villages are a tough thing to nail in these games, and for the ones I've played, which is only 3 in fairness, this game does it the absolute best. And I think another thing is being able to talk to them repeatedly. In the newer games, if you try to talk to them, even 3 or 4 times in a row, they'll get impatient with you and say, like, why are you still talking to me? Which I find is really a bad idea because it just discourages you from, continuing to talk to them. Another big thing is the favors. Giving them medicine when they're sick is one thing, but the fact that villagers can have their own hobbies and interests is something that I think really strengthens that idea of realism because they can be separate from villagers who have the same personality type. But at one point we had Cube and Hugh living here, both at the same time, and they're both lazy villagers. And yet, they were able to have unique dialogue from each other because they were interested in different hobbies. Granted, they weren't always interested in the same hobbies, they changed it around a lot. But point being that them having those different hobbies makes them feel distinct from one another. And that's something that really contributes to that feeling that the villagers have individual characteristics, even if, there's nothing hard-coded that says a villager will always act this way. Although, I believe villagers are coded in with a default hobby. And, there's hobbies like fossil gathering, fishing, catching bugs, furniture, clothes. There's a lot of things for them to be interested in. Gardening. And I don't know if the hobby system still exists in the newer games, but it doesn't really feel like it does, which I think, even if it did exist, then that's probably not a good sign, in my opinion. Let's put the orange cosmos here and see how they look. But yeah, it's... those are good. It's important that there are those things that allow villages to be distinct from each other, or else, obviously there is this suspension of disbelief, right? Everyone knows that these guys are all, they're not real and all that stuff. But that veil is able to at least exist. That kind of makes it feel more real. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say about villages in this game. I don't remember if I talked to Hugh, so let's talk to him anyway. I have a monthly subscription to Chillin' Magazine, but keeping them all takes up too much space, so I just cut out the good pages. Another thing is the length and breadth of dialogue. They have to be able to talk about a range of subjects and also for a decent amount of time on them. I recall a lot of New Horizons you'd have villagers talk about, have single sentence dialogue, and that was pretty much all they had to say. It was just like, hello, or something, boring like that. But making it so that they are saying interesting things and that they can say a wide range of things is really important, and not just that they have a lot of individual lines of dialogue, because if all of the dialogue is written the same anyway, then there's not much point to that. Oops. I don't think I have much else to do today. Oh yeah, let's get these fossils evaluated. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on villages. I think another thing I want to talk about is decoration. Obviously there's house decoration, but I want to talk first of all about a town decoration. So I don't view these games as, sandbox, creative games. It's not like Minecraft or The Sims where, you have the ability to place things down freely, or at least in this game it's not like that. And that's not really the point. It's a sort of mixture of things. You can be creative, but there's limits because of, that's just how it is. There's just limits, and I think that's fine. But the things that you are given, I think, it's important to, be able to use them to the greatest extent possible. flowers in particular are, they're a very simple thing, of course, but they add a lot, especially when you're able to coordinate them into certain patterns. And I think having that amount of simplicity with the amount that you're able to work with, which really comes down to flowers and trees, that's pretty much all you can work with, is enough, but also is, I think, a great stride in making you learn how to work with less. Because if you have a lot of options, it can be harder to be creative because of that overwhelming feeling. But this game, it gives you so little that you're pretty much forced to use these more niche options because of how little exists at all. And one of my favorite things that I discovered this year was the fact that certain items can be placed on the ground, which is, that's obviously a thing. But if you place them like this, you can add some color, you can add some, variety to the way your town looks without any consequence, because for fruits, and I think acorns and shells, those items don't, contribute negatively to your town's environmental score. And in the case of things like furniture like this, if you use it sparingly enough, then it's still fine. This area, this green area of pears, I think is made all the better by having all of the different types of greenery, which I was able to do by, having all of those different options. And it isn't much, but I think it's enough. And it's enough so that, that idea of creativity doesn't become the main focus, because, like I said, these games aren't purely about being creative. I think to fully enjoy these games, to this game in particular, you have to sort of be able to enjoy every aspect of it. And so by making the creative options limited, it encourages you to branch out further to other parts of the game. Hey, Pompom. It's time for a pop quiz. If you pass, I'll give you something totally nice. Question: what did I eat for dessert 2 months ago? Kibble. Correct. Wow, you got it on the very first try. How cool. Okay, I'm gonna give you the prize, so hold it your hands. Yeah, it's not much, but I really want you to have my exquisite wall. Love it like it was your own, because it totally is now. Great, thanks, Pompom. I'm probably gonna sell that, to be honest. Yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, so, it's, I think, important that, this game it's a delicate balance of different things, and so I think the creative options in this game are enough, at least for the outside. Of course, inside you get a lot more because you get your own space that you get to decorate. And that's, I think, something interesting, right? You don't own the village in this game. It's, the ownership, it's within the ownership of all, well, it's not, I don't know who owns it. I guess Totem is the mayor, but my point being that you're not the mayor yourself, and you're not the resident representative or whatever. So, you can't just, move houses or yank things out of the ground and move them other places. And so the things that you're able to do are just things that anyone would be able to do. Maybe, ignoring, maybe, the concept of permits, but, still. Right now I'm holding a little something something. For you, I'd be willing to let it go for just 2120 bells. What do you say, you win? Nah. But you're just saying that to drive the price down. But weak bargaining like that won't don't do squat to a pro haggler like me. Also, I didn't sell Buck's pick, did I? No, I did not. But yeah, so I think having those limited creative options is good for that balancing act that this game does. And I think this game does that balancing act really well. And of course, I would be remiss not to mention design paths. Being able to place these down are also obviously a great addition. But yeah, I think this idea that you don't have full control over the town is good. I think that limitation makes it better, because you have to sort of maybe not roll with the punches is the right term, but you have to, take what's given to you. You have to be alright, so this is the town I've been given. This is the map that I have, and this map is like this. I can't change these rivers and all that stuff. And now, obviously, I'm not trying to, I guess, to proclaim that, not that, the ability to change your town layout is worse, but maybe that not being able to do it is still good itself, and I think, in my opinion, is better representative of the way this series sort of began and how I personally prefer it. And of course we have the interior, which is your own space. You get to do whatever you want with it, and I think that makes an amount of sense. This is the snowman room full of snowman furniture, and we have the Egypt room over here. The furniture options in this game aren't as extensive. I don't know why this is here. Yeah, the furniture options in this game aren't as extensive as the ones in future games. And, obviously that's a benefit of those future games, is having more to work with. But you definitely come up with some creative things to work around in this game. These torches are tiki torches. They're not Egyptian at all. And this is a bonsai tree. Bonsai trees are Japanese. That doesn't really make much sense. This is like a medieval crown here. That doesn't make sense either. I didn't even realize this royal crown was here either. And this lamp in the corner is like, I think that's like Chinese. Obviously this stereo is a bit out of, not within the time period either. But yeah, I like having that, having less options in that regard, because I think it makes it, I think it makes whatever you decide to do more unique. Making a game room like this, you have to do some fun things to really get that feeling. Like, here we have these guys are playing pool. I don't know why the Leaning Tower of Pisa is here. I guess I got it and I didn't want to store it, so it's just here. And I put this gyroid here because I thought it was arcadey or something like that. Having those limited options is really, I think, fun to me. And yeah, like I'll reiterate once again that just, the simple fact of having less options doesn't mean it's better. But I just think that not having as many options has its own quality to it. And so I wouldn't, at the very least, I would not say it's a negative of this game is the lack of options, because I still think that has its own value. This room is just a trophy room, really. All of these models in the background are rewards that you get. The back are the points rewards you get from Nook's store, and the things in the front are the HRA achievement awards for having your house reach a certain HRA score. And of course all the pictures, which are a thing I neglected to mention, but are a great feature as well because of the way they encourage you to really build relationships with your villagers and other characters. And we have the space room, which is... I really, really like this room. The moon being here. I love these space gyroids. They're a great addition. It's very simple, but I don't know. There's something about this place. It's so relaxing with the music and the ambient sound effects of all of these space items that... I made this place, this room, like 8 months ago, and I haven't changed it because it's great. So I guess I should really wrap up my thoughts here. I've said some things that kind of imply, oh, well, it's worse, but that doesn't matter. And I guess what I'm trying to say when I'm talking about that is, like, some of the things that are lesser about this game, to me at least, aren't necessarily inherently lesser. It just means it's different, and I think it's good different, in my opinion. And if I had to talk about one last thing, I've already talked about so much. I mean, I don't know. This game's just so important to me. It's very special. I don't think any other game they could make would replicate the way I feel about this game. which is it my fault? Is it theirs? Who knows, you know? But there really is something special about this game, something that's different to me, something that makes it so much more compelling, and why I believed it deserved for me to play it every day for a whole year and for hopefully many years to come. I want to keep playing this place, because even if, you know, I stop, you know, recording it, showing it off, all that stuff, I'll still be playing it. And, I mean, anyone else is able to play it too. I mean, it's not a super accessible game, of course. You have to, you know, get yourself a DS and a cartridge, really. But yeah, it's, I don't know. Sometimes I play games and the way they make me feel, it's like there's something so special about it that just the simple act of me playing it is like, I don't know, like I'm disrespecting it. I don't know, like it's something that's untouchable. But I don't really feel that with this game. I think more so I feel like it deserves to be experienced in your own unique way. I've said repeatedly, like, this idea that what you get out of these games, and this game specifically, is what you put into it. I don't think it can fix a cynical attitude, or one that refuses to play along, so to speak, and I still think that. Because these games, or this game, it's not really like a conventional game. There's some liberties you have to take, some, you know, there's some things you have to do differently from regular games. There's no levels, really. There's no goals other than the ones you make yourself, really. There's ones that are suggested, but none that are forced. And I would hesitate to say that it isn't a game, but it's definitely not a regular game. But that's just part of why I love it so much. And yeah, and you know, I know that there are people that feel the same way about this game as I do, and I like that. And you know, I'm glad that there are people that don't. Because having my own little special world, I don't know, it's a good feeling. And yeah, a lot of things have happened this year. There's been some ups and downs, but that's life. And this game itself is like life. It's not a replacement of it. I wouldn't even say it's a realistic depiction of it. In fact, far from it. I'm in a room with a flying saucer and some weird alien rock singing things. But it's a game about life. And it's the best game about life that I've ever played. And so yeah, I think those are my final thoughts. I really don't have much else to say. Well, I think I do, but for the sake of time, maybe I'll just save it. So yeah, that's gonna be about it for today. Tomorrow will be the year in review. The grand time where I'll talk about the progress that I've made over the course of an entire year, and the individual months, of course. And then after that is the finale, the final day. It's insane to me how quickly this has come up. It feels like just yesterday I was, you know, introducing this. I was shooting Pete out of the sky with a slingshot. That was like the 4th day, though. It's insane. And, you know, I don't know if I've come very far since then. It's, you know, only been a year. Not much changes in a year, but... well, the game certainly hasn't changed. Lucky that. I wouldn't change it for the world, so... yeah. That's gonna be about it for today.